Have you ever walked into a cozy little home and felt an instant wave of calm wash over you? Not because it was fancy or filled with expensive things, but because every nook felt just right. Clean, tidy, and welcoming, like it had been patiently waiting for you to come back. Today, I want to share a heartfelt story about a woman named Carol, who's 80 years old and lives alone in a quiet suburb outside Sacramento. Despite her age, she keeps her home just as peaceful and organized as a comforting cup of tea on a chilly morning. Carol has developed 7 simple habits that help her maintain this calm without feeling worn out or overwhelmed. Maybe you've wondered why some homes always seem to stay neat, or wished your living space felt lighter and your daily routine less complicated. Maybe you've thought that getting older means losing the energy to keep things in order. If any of that sounds familiar, this story might just change the way you see your own home. What you'll hear aren't complicated tricks. They're down-to-earth habits, like giving every item a special place, handling little chores right away, holding on only to what truly matters, setting clear boundaries in your space, spending just 5 minutes tidying each night, preparing for tomorrow before you go to bed, and showing gratitude for the things you own. I'm not here to compare lifestyles, but to remind us that seniors across America share one simple truth. We all need room to breathe, to feel grounded, and to hold on to some control in our daily lives. And the best part? You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Just one small change can be the start. If you find value in this, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us keep bringing you gentle, practical tips that make each day a little easier and more peaceful. Thanks for being here with me. Now let's dive into the first habit. Habit 1. Every item has its place. The first time I stepped into Carol's home in a quiet neighborhood near Sacramento, something quietly settled inside me. Nothing felt out of place, and there wasn't a single thing that didn't belong. The TV remote sat neatly on the side table. Her slippers were always lined up by the door, and a fresh towel was folded just so on the bathroom shelf. Curious, I asked if she spent a lot of time tidying up each day. With a gentle smile, she said, "No, I don't really clean like that. I just make sure everything finds its way back home." It sounded simple, almost too simple, but I knew this was the result of years of a quietly practiced habit. I thought about my own house, how often I'd leave a cup on the kitchen counter, drape my jacket over a chair, then spend half the morning hunting for my keys or an important letter. It's those small, everyday habits that slowly pile up and turn into clutter. But Carol was different. She never let things stray. Every single item she used had a home of its own. Just like people, she said, things need to know where they belong. I found myself reflecting on the chaos I'd created by letting little things wander, my remote hidden in 3 different spots, keys lost in the fridge, yes, really, or that one medical form I once spent hours searching for. Carol didn't share any big wisdom, but living quietly like she does, she taught me that a tidy home starts with simple clarity in the small things. When every object has a place, your home doesn't feel chaotic, and neither does your mind. I decided to try it myself, starting by always putting the remote back in the same spot after using it. That one small change made all the difference. No more frantic searching, no more forgetting, no more irritation. It dawned on me then that staying organized isn't about endless cleaning. It's about not letting things drift away in the first place. Habit 2. If it takes less than a minute, do it right away. One afternoon, while I was chatting with Carol, I noticed her get up to pour herself another cup of tea. Before settling back into her chair, she grabbed a cloth and quickly wiped a tiny spill on the table. It was just a little drip, but she didn't let it linger for even a moment. Curious, I asked why she didn't just wait and clean everything later. She smiled and said, "If it takes less than a minute, I'd rather handle it right then." It wasn't a rule she was quoting. It was just how she lived her day-to-day life. I couldn't help but think about myself. How often I'd see a dirty cup sitting in the sink or on the counter and tell myself I'd wash it later. But later never came, and one cup turned into a pile before I knew it. Putting off small chores builds an invisible weight. Carol said, "I don't like leaving things unfinished in my house. I like to gently finish each task and then move on." She wasn't just keeping her home tidy. She was clearing space in her mind. I knew exactly what she meant. There have been nights I went to bed feeling frustrated over a few little things left undone. And even if I forgot about them by morning, the weight of unfinished tasks still hung over me. Carol doesn't wait for motivation or the perfect moment. She just does what she can when she can, and then lets it go. That's why nothing piles up in her home, and why she doesn't carry a mental to-do list that never ends. That day, I learned that sometimes just 1 minute of action can save you from hours of putting things off, and all the stress that comes with it. Habit 3. Keep less, but choose wisely. When I stepped into Carol's kitchen, I immediately noticed how simple everything was. One pot, one skillet, two bowls, and just a couple of utensils. The fridge was spotless, no forgotten sauces or wilted veggies lurking in the back. I asked her why she didn't keep more, just to make life easier. She looked at me calmly and said, "I only hold on to what I really use. I used to have more, but I decided to live with what matters every day, not stuff I'm saving just in case." That struck a chord with me. I thought about all the things I've kept around, just because I didn't want to waste them. A juicer I used once, a set of dishes I never really liked but hung on to because they were gifts. Carol didn't keep things out of obligation or guilt. She kept only what was truly useful in her life right now. That made me start opening my own cabinets and asking myself, do I use this? Does it bring me peace? And if not, am I ready to let it go? I didn't have to toss everything, but just asking those questions helped me see clearly. Carol said that holding on to things is like holding on to parts of your mind. And if you cling to too much, there's no room left for lightness. A home with fewer belongings isn't empty or lacking. It's simply enough. If you've ever wondered why some older folks have homes that feel bright, calm, and inviting, places where you just want to sit down and stay a little longer, you might want to check out our video on 10 secrets to keep your home always organized, linked in the corner or description. That's where I share quiet tips many seniors live by. No heavy lifting, no expensive stuff, just knowing where to begin. Sometimes you'll find that one small change is all it takes to bring calm to both your home and your mind. Now, let me tell you about another gentle habit Carol shared during those peaceful evenings, one that helps her close each day with a sense of order and ease. Habit 4. 5 minutes each night before bed. That evening, after we finished our tea, I was about to say goodbye when Carol asked me to wait a moment while she tidied up the kitchen. I expected it to take a while, but to my surprise, she took exactly 5 minutes. She put the snack tray back in the cupboard, washed 2 teacups and set them on the drying rack, wiped the table and straightened 2 chairs. Everything went back into place. Not rushed, not slow, just calm and deliberate. When she finished, she smiled and said, "Now my day is complete." I asked if she did this every night. She nodded. "I don't wait for the house to get messy to clean. I just do a little each day, like saying a gentle goodbye to today." I stayed quiet for a moment, thinking about myself. I'd gotten used to leaving things as they were, promising myself I'd clean tomorrow. Then I'd wake up to crumbs on the table and a chair with a towel still draped over it. I started each day surrounded by yesterday's clutter. But Carol was different. She always ended her day with 5 minutes of tidying. Not to make everything perfect, but to bring a little order back so that when she opened her eyes in the morning, the space was peaceful and ready. I wondered if I could do the same. Just 5 minutes, how would that change my mind? I used to say I didn't have time to clean. But in truth, I was spending hours each week just managing the mess I'd let pile up. I created chaos that wouldn't be there if I'd done a little every night. As seniors, we often feel too tired to clean much, but 5 minutes is something anyone can manage. One clean table, one washed cup, one pair of slippers neatly placed. Those small things don't take much effort, but they give back a sense of calm to start the next day. Since then, I've tried it myself. Before bed, I pick 3 small tasks: wipe the counter, wash a cup, straighten a chair. And you know what? I sleep better. Not because the house is spotless, but because my mind isn't weighed down by unfinished tasks. My home is still old and small, but inside I've carved out a little space to breathe. And every morning, I wake up feeling like my life is still on track, one small step at a time. Habit 5. Give each area a clear purpose. As I walked through Carol's home, something simple but powerful caught my attention. Every space had a clear, special role. The dining table was just for meals, no stacks of mail or books left behind. The living room had one comfortable chair, a small tea table, and a few well-loved books neatly lined up on a shelf. Nothing extra, nothing out of place. I asked Carol why she didn't add another chair for guests or a cabinet to store more things. She smiled and said, "I don't want everything to get mixed up. Eating is for eating. Reading is for reading. Resting is for resting." Each space helped her focus on what mattered in that moment, without distractions pulling her away. It sounded simple, but the more I thought about it, the more it made perfect sense. I realized how often I ate on the couch while watching TV, tossed mail onto the dining table, and used the kitchen counter as my makeshift desk, then complained my house felt cramped. The real problem wasn't the size of the space, but that the purpose of each area got all tangled up. When everything blends together, the space stops serving us, and we become part of the clutter. Carol didn't work in her living room, didn't read in the kitchen, and never napped on the couch. She said our bodies need these reminders. This is where we rest. This is where we eat. This is where we find peace. That simple idea not only helped her keep a tidy home, but also kept her mind calm and clear. I thought about my older friends, some struggling to sleep, others overwhelmed by clutter, unsure where to begin. Maybe the first step isn't pushing things away, but giving each space its own purpose again. Let your dining table be just for meals. Don't put your laptop next to the stove. Avoid piling boxes by the front door. Even small changes like these can make a big difference. I tried it myself, and when my home started to feel organized by purpose, my days smoothed out too. My house didn't get bigger, but it began to feel enough because every corner had its voice, its job, and they no longer bumped into one another. And if you're still here with me, thank you for listening. These stories aren't about teaching, but about reminding us that even as we grow older, we can gently realign our lives, starting right at home. If these habits resonate with you, please leave a comment. I'd love to know you're here, walking this quiet path of tidiness, one day at a time. Habit 6. Prepare for tomorrow, starting tonight. Before heading to bed, Carol always takes about 10 quiet minutes for a small evening ritual. She picks out her clothes for the next day, places a handkerchief neatly on her favorite chair, tidies up the kitchen, double checks that the doors are locked, and sets a glass of water beside her bed. Curious, I asked if all that preparation was really necessary. She told me, "Mornings are when the mind feels most scattered, so I clear the path for myself the night before." Hearing that, I felt a little embarrassed, thinking of all those mornings I'd frantically rummage through my closet, hunting for something to wear or searching for my keys, and then spend the whole day running behind that rush. Carol wasn't rushing, and she wasn't lazy. She simply lived with quiet structure. And that structure didn't tire her. It kept her rested. I started doing the same, beginning with just setting out a water bottle and folding my shirt the night before. That feeling of waking up without the morning scramble, just stepping calmly into the day with everything ready, was surprisingly comforting. Not because I was doing more, but because I had fewer little decisions to wrestle with. Carol taught me that this kind of preparation is a gentle form of self-care. For people like us, growing older, living with intention, even in the smallest daily acts, can make all the difference. Habit 7. Be grateful for every item. After our last cup of tea, I watched Carol carefully wash her cup, dry it, and just before placing it back on the shelf, she gently pressed her hands together. Curious, I asked what she was doing. She smiled softly and said, "I'm thanking this cup for serving me today." That simple moment stopped me in my tracks. In her home, every item was treated with care, not because it was fancy or expensive, but because she lived with gratitude for even the smallest things. She told me, "I once had very little, so I learned to appreciate what I have, not hoard more. I keep only what I use, and I always thank those things." I thought about my own home, how many things I'd held onto out of guilt or fear I might need them someday, or just because it felt wasteful to let them go. But I'd never stopped to thank a single thing. Carol did, every time before putting something down. That's when I realized her tidy home wasn't just from being careful or diligent. It came from kindness, not only to people, but to the things around her too. And I believe that's why her home, though small, felt warm. Though simple, it felt enough. Though old, it never felt empty or sad. So let me say those 7 habits one more time. 1. Always return every item to its place. 2. If a task takes less than a minute, do it right away. 3. Keep less, but choose wisely. 4. Spend 5 minutes tidying each night. 5. Give every space a clear purpose. 6. Prepare for tomorrow the night before. 7. Be grateful for every item that walks with you through life. These 7 habits don't ask for strength or money, just a small shift in how we live. Whether you're American or from anywhere else, I believe seniors everywhere share the same hopes. We want to live lighter, brighter, and with more meaning. Even as our steps slow and energy fades, I hope you find something familiar in these lessons today. If this has helped you, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment so I know you're here with me. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this journey. Your presence is a real gift. Wishing you health and peace in your own cozy, gentle home. See you again in the next video.